First violin away from a manger. Hi guys, this video is going to be about going over this piece, Away from a Manger. For the most part, this is exactly the same as all of our other pieces with few minor differences. For instance, you're actually playing some notes on E string, which are these two, for instance. This is your fourth finger on E, the note is B. Again here, A and B, G, right? Second finger, third, fourth. And few things I want you to really pay very, very close attention to. That is your second finger to be either in high position or low position. High position would be on the red tape, low position would be on the white tape, where you connect your second to your first, like this. This is yellow, this is red, which is normal first, high second. When you lower it, you are connecting your second to your first, and this is now considered low second. Now, depending on what notes you have, you're playing either high or low on your second finger. In this piece, just like our other pieces, there is only one F sharp, as you can see. F sharp would be applied for the entire piece, which means every F you play on D string, this is D, that's E, that's F, has to be high second on the red tape to make it F sharp. If you played it low second, then now it's F natural. F sharp, F natural. So all the Fs on D string, unless there's a natural sign behind it, has to be here for sharp. However, if you play the next F on E string, it's going to be the natural F. Now, this is open E. The next note after E is F, which you learned to play on the yellow tape, right? But if you have to play it as low F, because remember this is now F sharp. To play it as F natural, you have to place your first finger on the white tape, or the first tape on your fingerboard. This is yellow, F sharp, white, F natural. There's only few notes that you have to remember what they are. That's it. It's not difficult at all. As I've mentioned it before, first of all, there is only 7 notes that you have, different names, and on your instrument, 4, 4, 4, 5. These are 17 different notes you have to memorize. That's it. And sometimes you see them in different types, like different sharps or naturals. That's it. It's not hard at all, considering you're playing many music, many different pieces. You can finish the entire book knowing only 16, 17 notes. That's very, very easy. So, as far as different rhythm goes, you have like 4 different rhythms maximum. You have quarter, eighth, half, and dotted ones are obviously super easy. Sometimes 16th notes, dotted half note, dotted quarter note sometimes. They're very easy. So, that sign stands for an up bow. Everything is very, very simple as you see. Downward arrow number 2, which stands for C natural, right? So since there is no C sharp, as I've mentioned it before, all the C's are going to be low. This one, the C that you play on A string has to be played with your low second finger, C natural. Moving on, same thing, same thing. This F is high second. I didn't write it down anymore because I've memorized it. You should too. It says movie recording has been stopped automatically.
This recording has been stopped.
Movie recording has been stopped automatically.
There you
Well, what happened?
go. DSLRs, they're not meant to record for longer than half-hour sessions.
Oh, had it been half hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you start from the last thing you talked about?
Yeah, okay. So I need to put a timer then. Or could you remind me when it's like 25 minutes or so?
Yeah.
So I can stop. Okay.
Sorry, it's a DSLR thing.
It's okay. Okay, so as you see, starting from here, this C is low second finger. You played with low second on A. Moving on, same with this one, same with this one, all the way up to this one. This is F, even though there is no sharp sign. I've memorized it because the sharp sign is in the key signature. So every F is going to be sharp automatically. So this is high second on D, whereas this one is low second on A. High second, low second. Different strings, different notes. But keep that in mind. You're using the same finger in two different positions. For high for F sharp on D, low for signature on A. Moving on, same thing, C natural, F sharp, and G. Now, this is the fourth finger on E string. This note, as you know, is called B. Fourth finger on E, you start to practice it, start with open E, F sharp, G sharp, A, then fourth. This is B. Okay, make sure all your fingers are curved. You don't want this. Don't bend your fingers and make sure your previous fingers are not up in the air. Hold them down as you play each note. Then you would be able to manipulate your finger positions. Remember, when you're moving your fingers, the only thing that's moving is your finger pretty much. By moving your finger second, for instance, from high to low, you're not supposed to move your first. By moving your first, you're not supposed to move your second. Everything stays intact and you're just moving your specific fingers like that. Okay? So practice on that. The tape for the fourth finger is the orange or carrot color. It's like orange, you know what tape that is. So the one after blue, the next color tape, except for white, after blue is for fourth finger. A is white on E string, that's A. Back to F sharp, C natural, G is just like C natural that you've been playing, just like this C, but on E. This C is low second on A string, right here. This G is low second on E string. See, the same exact position, only on a different string, gives you this G. However, if this C was sharp, you would put it on red, high second. If this G was sharp, you would put it on red as G sharp, high second. Since it's not sharp, you do low. Let's have it to zoom in. There we go. Low as opposed to high. White, red. White ones for these two are natural. This is sharp. This as well. F natural, F sharp. C natural, C sharp. G natural, G sharp. Depending on which version of the notes you have, that's how you would go up and down. Moving on, there is this parts here. Now look, accidentals. Accidentals are the signs that you see during the piece, right? The ones that you have, sharps, flats, are called key signature that you would see at the beginning of the piece. The other ones could be natural, sharp, flat, that you see as you play the piece, during the piece. Those are called accidentals. As you know, accidentals are only effective till the end of that measure, and also they are effective for this every single note that are the same names and same register. For instance, the name of this note is C. Every C within the same register, not the high C, not higher than that. are going to be the same exact note. They don't need to put multiple sharps had they wanted this to be also a sharp. That's why. In fact, they put a natural sign here because this C needs to be a natural one. If they didn't put a natural C, you would also play this one as sharp, but as soon as the measure is over, everything goes back to normal according to what key signature you have. Everything resets itself. So sharp, high third. This is third finger on G string, which is on blue. This note. To make it go sharp, you would either raise your third finger and play it on white, or lower your fourth and play it on white again. I would suggest to try both, and your fourth finger would be a little bit easier since you don't have to move anything. You may go too high, or you may move other fingers with it, but try both. Keep in mind, the first one is sharp, then you go back to natural, and then A, C natural, B, and then D. Right? So A, B, C natural, then it repeats itself pretty much from the top, and that's all there is in this piece. Not difficult, but you have to really pay attention to see what notes are coming up next. If you're reading the notes still a little bit slow, by the time you get here, you're gonna miss this note. You're not gonna have enough time to process them as quickly as you need to be able to play the notes right on time, because by the time you get here, you have to already know ahead of the time, not to mention that there's a rest before it. So you have to know the name, accidental, finger, string, everything that has to do with that specific note to play it correctly. And also you have to look ahead. If you're playing, for instance, just in general, keep that in mind. If you're playing this note, you have to look at here. You always have to process ahead of where you're playing. You're not supposed to play and process simultaneously. You wouldn't be able to do that flawlessly. So look ahead, be familiar with the music, and look ahead so that you don't get surprised when notes are coming up. Okay, that's all I have to say about this piece, and have fun practicing it. First violin, minuet number 3. Hello guys, in this video we're going to be talking about this piece, minuet number 3. Now, there is a few things that I want you to know before we start this piece. Number 1 is to be able to clap the rhythm. This is going to be one of our first pieces that has dotted half note, quarter note, eighth note, and 16th notes, right? So, half note itself gets 2 beats. Quarter note, 1, eighth notes, half, 16th notes, half of 1. I mean, a quarter of 1. How you can think of them is this. Imagine quarter notes are dollar bills, right? Every 25 cents would be a 16th note, right? If you have a circle, imagine a pizza that only has 4 cuts in a plus sign on it. Each piece would be a 16th note, 1/4 of the full value, right? And the full value would be a quarter note. So 16th notes are 1/4 of a quarter note, right? Therefore, how many of them do you get per each quarter note? 4. Another way to think of it is every eighth note would equal to 2 16th notes. And you can just do the math. How many eighth notes you have per each quarter? 2. Each eighth note now gets 2 on its own, so 2 plus 2 is 4. Therefore, you have 4 16th notes per each quarter notes. I'll demonstrate that. If you're playing open D as quarter notes, sounds like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're playing eighth notes, sounds like this. 1, these are quarter, ready, eighth. These are eighth notes. 16th notes sounds like this. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 1 E and A, 1 E and A, right? 1 E and A, 2 E and A. To be able to count them a little bit more precise, the quarter notes would get the numbers 1, 2, 1, 2. Eighth notes would get the and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. 16th notes would be 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 1 E and A, 2 E and A. Those are 16th notes. So, again, for now, the first step to play this piece, this is one of our most difficult pieces to play, considering everything you have to do about this piece. First, you have to clap the rhythm and, of course, know your notes. Look at the key signature. It's nothing. There is no sharp, no flats, and that is a key signature on its own. When you have no sharps nor flats, every single note is natural, unless you see accidentals within the piece, right? And natural sign, just in case you would play this as sharp, you would see a natural sign to remind you, because accidentals are effective till the end of the measure. Okay, so few things we have to do about this piece. You have to play the correct notes, you have to play the correct rhythm, and hopefully correct bowings and correct articulation. That's very important. That includes dynamics and also staccatos in this case that you have. Crescendo, staccato, and that's pretty much it. And slurs, right? Very slowly. Practice it one note at a time, one measure at a time, then you'll be able to play the notes. Here, I'll play these two measures specifically so you hear how the rhythm works between them. Don't forget, all the notes are natural, which means C is the natural version of C, which is low second. F also is a natural version of F, low second. So like this. See? Low, low, 1, low, low, 1. Again. 1, 1 E and A, 1. 1, 1 E and A, 1. Slower would be. Notice I'm putting my first finger not on the yellow tape. This is the normal first. On the yellow, I'm putting it on white, low first. Why? As you see, downward arrow number 1. Because F is not sharp. First finger on E is F. But if you put it as normal first, you're playing F sharp. You're playing the sharp version of F. Since there is no sharp here, and it's natural, you have to put it as low version of F. See? Sharp, natural, sharp, natural. So keep that in mind, and the rest of the piece is fairly simple because the only accidentals you have are Fs. F sharp, F sharp. This F, since it's sharp, you play it as high second on D string. This one, since it's sharp, you play normal first or high first on E string, on yellow. Red, yellow. Again, red on D, yellow on E. Then white on E. This is F natural, low first. So it goes back and forth. And we'll talk about the form, minuet. Minuet, most of the times, is followed by trio, the other half that completes this form. We'll talk about that in class. But as far as learning the notes, it's very repetitive. You pretty much play the same rhythm all the way through and you play the same notes for the most part. It repeats itself many times over. Once more, practice it measure by measure, literally measure by measure for this piece specifically so that you understand and learn all about it. Have fun practicing.